What's sir, please start.
Okay. First of all, very good afternoon and warm welcome to all of you. It's my great pleasure to introduce today's guest, Dr. Praveen Tavre sir. Talking about his educational qualification, he completed his bachelor's in agriculture from College of Agricultural Pune, which is come under Mahatma Phule Krishi Vidyapith Rahuri. Then he completed his master's in agricultural microbiology from PGI, Mahatma Phule Krishi Vidyapith Rahuri, and then he completed his PhD in botany from Savitribai Phule Pune University, Pune. He had strong research background that he worked as a co-principal investigator in 3 projects sponsored by ICAR, National Research Grapes Center, National Research Center for Grapes, and also worked as co-principal investigator in 7 projects sponsored by ICAR and National Institute of Abiotic Stress Management, Baramati. To his credit, he has published 14 research papers having total citations 76, 5 technical bulletin, 10 technical folders, and also he has written more than 60 popular articles. He has served resource person for many invited talks like GAPS for high productivity, profitability, resource use efficiency, organized by Department of Agronomy, IARI, New Delhi. Also, he worked as an editor for monthly newsletter Farm Coordinator. Talking about his extracurricular activity or extra skills, he is expert in statistics, Sigma Stat, SPSS, Biodiversity Pro, data presentation, dragon fruit cultivation, and many more. Right now, he is working as Senior Technical Officer at ICAR, National Institute of Abiotic Stress Management, Baramati. So this is about Dr. Praveen Tavre sir. We are all lucky to have such a wonderful Senior Technical Officer from National Institute of Abiotic Stress Management. So over to you, sir.
Thank you, sir. I'm just sharing my screen. So, good afternoon, everybody. I am audible properly?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah, and my screen is visible. Hello.
Yes, sir. Visible,
okay.
Sir. Yes.
Okay. So today I'm going to talk on preparing effective illustrations for result data interpretation. This is really very basic information. I'm not very hi-fi procedures I am going to give. First of all, I express my gratitude towards all the mentors in biostatistics who taught me a lot about biostatistics. Then the director ICAR NIASM. Actually, this I talked to madam also. The director ICAR NIASM, who is Dr. Himanshu Pathak. He has more than 800 research papers and citations more than 15,000. So very good. He is editor of very much good journals, and he teaches us a lot of things about presentation. Then our project colleagues, I thanks them also, the organizers, FD, PHRDC, and HGM College. I'm going to start this presentation with my presentation will be small, 15 to 20 minutes. After that, I will switch over to Excel sheet where I will demonstrate how to prepare the graphs and everything. Actually, being in central government institute, we are habitual to talk in Hindi in between. So I'm not a good orator also, but so bear with me. Thank you. I'll start. So to initiate, appropriate presentation of data in the form of illustrations can be a useful analysis tool. And if the data is then effectively interpreted, this can facilitate the decision-making process. So what we are collecting a lot of data, interpreting it. The main importance is we have to come to some decision. So that can be made easy through illustrations. If you see the human eye, or rather our brain adapts this visual information very quickly. Maybe it complex also, it adapts very quickly. And this is achieved by taking shortcuts, because going through data in tabular form, it may take some time, but in terms of graphs, we can come up to the decision very quickly. So it is somewhat a shortcut method. To introduce the, we most of the time faced with a dilemma whether to present data in a table or through illustrations. One thumb rule is if data shows pronounced trends. If trends are good, then we can, or it paints some good picture through illustrations, we can switch over to the graphical presentation. If the data fails to show any exciting trend, then a graph is clearly not the data presentation format of our choice. So this is one example what I am giving about table. So this is general information we want to give. Here, if we go towards graph, it will be very complex to understand. We want to give a lot of information in this. This is from my thesis actually on one paper. A present status of area, production and yield of grapes in India. That we just want to picturize the grape cultivation, and that can be very easily dealt with in tabular formation. To other side, I just want to explain which are the major grape growing areas. There simple map and marking some lines, it can show that the temperate grape growing areas are the major grape growers, and that can be depicted that between 10 degrees centigrade to 20 degrees centigrade, or also we can say 30 degree north to 50 degree, like that we can explain very easily. It can be it will be difficult to explain in text or some tabular format also. This is another example. Actually, this is dealing with where to go for a table and where to go for graphs or pictures. And these are the type of variables. This is also one of the factor in this going for this decision. And here I try to explain through chart and text also. So to discuss this topic in text format, it will be lengthy, but here you can see the how we can classify the variables, the categorical variable, numerical variable, then again dichotomous, ordinal, nominal, or discrete, continuous. So these are the type of variables and how those can be differentiated from one another. That can be very easily shown in this picture, this figure. So this here we say the categorical variables. When we say these are basically the categories. If we and how much categories? 2 categories, maybe in the format of male, female, yes, no, like that. It is a dichotomous. Then 3 or more categories where we can say if there is the category has something to something like sequential actually, like skin color classification. If we say there is some sequence in explanation, so that comes under ordinal. And nominal, most of the time, suppose blood group, we are collecting data about blood group, then it's not a sequence, it's AB, ABO, like that. So it will be nominal. And numerical, these are in the form of numbers. Discrete, mostly these are the whole numbers. And continuous, this may be in decimal points. Variables measured on a numerical scale are richer in information and should be explained through statistical analysis. Then basic rules about data tables. It should be self-explanatory. I will not read everything. We will have to complete presentation very easily early. So value should be cell should be standardized decimal points like that. Then it should be numbered nicely. It should be inserted into a document only after being mentioned in text like that is there. I have given one example how the table should be. And now these are the two examples. This first is table one is incorrect format of table. With this, there are some few lines, vertical lines are there. Also in correct format nowadays we see in literature is like a table number 2. There 3 lines mostly used to give the data, and data is given in the form of means plus or minus standard deviation. Standard deviation is used on most commonly, and like that we have to mention the units also. This is another format. That is again from my one of the paper I have given. So this is the effect of powdery mildew infection. What our data it should be self-explanatory. That is what we have done. One thing we have written in title or legend: effect of powdery mildew infection on grape bunches on total acidity. That unit also given. Then varieties, 3 varieties I have given. Then total acidity unit in table, and this line can be removed. In some journals there are some few more lines are all there, and here these 2 lines can be removed. Then our powdery infection levels. Here we see the means. Then what we have done is written in the table data are pooled means of 3 replicates each over 2 years plus or minus standard deviation. Most of the time standard deviation we can write only S dot D dot. That is accepted very well. Then these CBC, these are the performed Dr. Duncan test. These figures we are given, and we will try to explain a little bit about this also, how it can be done through SPSS. I think one lecture on SPSS already have taken up, but very quickly I will explain this. What does this means? Because to mean self-explanatory, most of the time what happens, we keep LSD or CSCD at 0.05 or 5% probability, and let to the reader to do the calculations and go for testing the significance of difference. But here we are giving it in the table itself. That is, A is the highest figure. Then what's up this AB says? AB says these 2 figures are in heavy and severe infection. These are at par. But we see the moderate, in case of moderate, 4.90 figure is says BC. That means it is at par with heavy infection, but it is significantly different from the severe infection. So that is what the easily we can identify from these superscripts. This is generally written in superscripts also. Some papers accept as such in same line. So this is the what we write significance of treatment differences tested by 1 ANOVA. Like that we have to give all information. Very quickly, I will share this is one data. This has gone through SPSS, and this is the this has gone through SPSS, and this is the ANOVA table we have received. And here we see very quickly, I will say this, when this is the game of F value. F we have to disapprove our null hypothesis. Null hypothesis is there are no differences in treatment means, and alternate hypothesis is there are differences. So when the F calculated is more than F table, our mean square, this value MSE should be lesser. So then we will come up to good F value. This is the post hoc test of Duncan test, DMRT test we have followed, and how it can be done. These values, this is arranged in the form of descending, ascending order, and then we select how these AA can be written. So like that, here I have given in the side table that it is given by T1, T2, T4, but here we say already in first table, post hoc test table, the table is arranged in descending or ascending order in as per our selection. So what are the illustrations? Illustrations are visual representations of the results obtained from a scientific study. There are basically two types of illustrations, that is the graphs and pictorial images. Then images are photographs, images, diagrams. That is, graphs are a common type of illustrations that we are often used in scientific papers. Graphs are to reveal trends and patterns in the data. So illustrations provide visual impact and are often the best way to communicate. The purpose of graphs is to present data that is too numerous or complicated, that can be difficult to read in a tabular form. And graphs as well as tables can be critical to achieving a better understanding of the results of the study. That is our basic. We have to interpret our results as easily or readable in readable form. Readers who go beyond the abstract, you might have gone through some lectures that how our if 1,000 viewers visit to our our citation, our paper, they initially use title, read title and go away. Some go to abstract, but after abstract, mostly they go visit the graphs and tables. So our interpretation at this level should be good. Basic rules are included below the figure, a title providing all relevant information. Be referred to the figures in text. Identify figure accessed by the variable under analysis. Quote the sources which provided the data if required, and demonstrate the scale being used. Be self-flexibility, no doubt. That is very important in tables also and in figures also. Then how to present graphs and organize the figures in such a manner that they tell a story. It should tell some trend or something should be explained. Otherwise, if it is not telling anything, no trends are there, it is not good to put any graph or image. Be sure that all figures are cited within text. Then limit the number of illustrations to include only those that provide. Too many illustrations are so not required. Very few illustrations that are most important for our results that should be given. Number each figure in the order in which they are referred to text. So what are the graphs, types of graphs? Generally, we are going through. These are the scattergram, then line graph, bar graph, histogram, pie chart, and box plot. Now coming up to scattergram, it used to present measurements on two or more variables that are related to variables on the y-axis are dependent on the values of variable plotted along the x-axis, and this is its presentation. And this is most of the time it is seen that as the disease increases, the leaf area decreases, and that what we wanted to plant on scatter diagram. Then again, line diagram, it is much more similar to scatter diagram, which is the condition that values of the x variable have their own sequence. Those values represent a continuous variable, such a time, temperature, pressure, etc. are put on x-axis. Then line graphs are often used when plotting data of two variables. Most of the time, two variables we use. Data can be plotted as individual points or as means of variability. We can use error bars also in that. If the data are continuous or in temporal for spatial sequence, then the means can be joined by lines. Here we will see the examples also. Most of the time what we I have seen a lot of time the lines are joined and the data is not a continuous form. When all data points are plotted as a scatter diagram line based on appropriate statistics, so we can use a regression line. And most important is this line should never be fitted by eye, as you would be guessing that I have seen a lot of time, most of the time being Excel, it is very easy to manipulate the data, how I like this line should be, and accordingly adjusting data is not at all good. So this is the initially we plotted a scatter diagram, then we added a regression line to it, and it again happens to be a line graph. So initially it was a scatter diagram. So this is grafted anthocyanin content against color index. Now this is line graph. Line graph another format. Now here what I wanted to say, to see, we can't see this is a continuous data because it is written as healthy, low, moderate, heavy, severe. But in text, actually, it was like 0 to 10%, 10 to 20%. So that time, that way, it is a continuous data. There only we can join these points with the lines. Otherwise, we should not join these lines. I have seen a lot of the times that suppose some different plants are there and plant heights has been measured like that, we can say, and it is plotted, and there we should not connect these points. At the time, we should go for bar graph like things. Now, bar graph and histogram. Bar graph and histogram are mostly similar, but the category, size, number, month is plotted on horizontal x-axis, and the numbers which we collect the data in each category is plotted on a vertical y-axis. Graph may be made two y-axis also, preliminary and secondary, primary and secondary, that can be used. The difference between bar graph and histogram is that bar graphs are used when dealing with discrete measurements, and the bars on the graph do not touch each other. That is very important. We'll see in examples also. Histograms are used to represent continuous data, and the bar should be continuous, although many authors seem to ignore this convention. Because what happens actually when we perform histogramming up to Excel 2013, there is a difficulty in drawing a histogram in such way, but there are ways to come to the conclusion. These are not restricted to data involving total numbers or percentage, but means and variability in the form of standard deviations or standard error can also be represented. So this is one simple example I have just given. No statistics have been done here, but we have used primary axis and secondary axis here. What I wanted to tell that what is the grape production area and production over the year from 2001 to 2018. So these bars are showing the area in million, 1,000 hectares, and the line is, the points are showing the production in 1,000 metric tons per a year. So that is a simple graph used for introduction. Here, no statistics is required. One problem here is that most of the time we do not use the y-axis. We do not start y-axis from 0 if we are not starting. And just to show our treatment in overestimate manner, then this is the same graph figure showing how graph in which y-axis does not start with 0 tend to overestimate the differences under analysis. And on the left, there is a graph whose y-axis does not start with 0, and on the right, the graph for reproducing same graph on y-axis starting with 0. So that also, it is not that we always at every time we have to start it at 0, but our intention should not be there to overestimate the differences. Then it is okay. This is the perfect example how nowadays online publications are there, then color graphs are accepted, but mostly in print journals we require black and white format, and we have to prepare like this. We have to here I have not given any legends etc. here or heading to the graph, but that we have to give. This is the bar graph with standard deviation, and also the results of post-hoc test have been written in the type at the levels. So that is one format that we will see in Excel sheet also. Then as also stacked form also we can use, like suppose here I have used total microbial count. I have to show, but it is in the form of fungal count or fungi and yeast and bacteria count, colony count was there that I have shown, and the total is there. The same graph can go for chlorophyll A, chlorophyll B, where we say total chlorophyll. That can be done. This is a stacked form. Some pictures also can be used actually, maybe in journals. These are not allowed, but in some good to explain our things. Now here what I wanted to explain the wine score. The wine score, this is the organoleptic tests of wines were taken with 20 data sets we have collected, and the wine score was designed on the basis of that that data. And here we can add picture also at place of bars. Histogram, that is the difference in histogram. It is a specialized type of bar graph that resembles a column graph, but there are no gaps between the columns. It is used to represent data from measurement of a continuous variable. Individual data points are grouped together in classes to show the frequency of data in each class. The frequency is measured by the area of the column. Now these here you see these 40 to 50, 50 to 60. That's why being a bar graph, there is no gap in between these two bar graphs, and it is generally used in case of frequency distributions to etc. Then again, pie chart, it shows classes on groups of data in proportion to the whole data set. The entire pie represents all the data, while each slice or segment represents a different class or group within the whole. So that we can do. So here I try to give the area under grape production in different states of India. So here the number of states was limited, or very few states, in others very some few states are included. So that is good. We should not include more than 7 actually in this data pie chart. So it gives percentage of total. Mostly pie chart gives percentage of total. Then box plot, it may be either horizontal or vertical. It is used to display a statistical summary of one or more box and variables: minimum, lower quartile, median, upper whisker plot, etc. So that is that also can be used. So last 2 slides, when plotting a graph, it is important to use the which of the variable is dependent and which is independent. That is also very important. Most of the time, both the variables are dependent, but while plotting the graph, maybe one, suppose that we saw in anthocyanin content and the color index. The both are dependent on something, but here now color index is dependent on anthocyanin content. So that we have to understand which should go to x-axis and which should go to y-axis. Then scale we have to, sensible scale we have to use, so that it will look good. The axis must be labeled correctly. Axis, whatever x-axis, y-axis, labeling should be done properly. Then symbols, in case of data points, we can use different symbols if more than one data sets are being used. Then legends should contain enough text that it should be self-explanatory. That's The scientific convention for legend placement is that the legend for the graph is placed beneath it, and in case of tables, it is placed above. Then we can use the means and variability, as mostly standard deviation is used as S dot D and standard error as S dot E. So like that, we have to write, this is here what we have written: oxygen consumption. The X it is a mean and plus or minus SD, and we have to should mention number of observations also. The guidelines, these are, make sure that you know how this to use a software actually, because too many softwares are available for preparing graph. But what I have seen, Excel is quite handy in that case, because we can customize our graphs as we require. All graphs in printed reports must be black and white. Now some journals are coming with color presentations also, so no doubt, but mostly black and white graphs are present. So at that time, we should not prepare color graph and print it to black white. It will look odd. Then graph must not have background shading. Now it may change from publication to publication, but these are the common things. Should not have background shading, horizontal scale lines, and a box surrounding the graph. So thank you about this presentation. I will switch over to Excel presentation, Excel, where we will try to prepare the graphs. I'm sharing my Excel sheet now. Okay. This is the scattered scattergram or scatter diagram, we can say. This is the first, we can say. So to prepare a scatter diagram, it is a very easy actually. Here I have prepared one scatter diagram. We can go for scatter diagram. Just select this, insert, go for scatter diagram like this. So this gives us the now we will add the axis, and it is easy to add. Here go to plus, then axis. Here we have to pick axis titles. So now we can put axis titles there. If we want data labels, then also we can give, but the number of observations are more, data labels are not required, error bars also not required. So that is easy. So we have to put axis title here. Now, another thing, most of the time we require this black and white format. Here it is in a colored format. In that case, we just select this format data series. So we'll see here, we have to go in the this adding color. The no line is there, marker, color is black. Okay. Here marker also we can change in different type of marker we can add. Here fill is not there. Here we have to fill, solid fill, then black color. So that is it. Again, we have to remove these lines also if we do not want to keep. This can be deleted. Just delete these lines. Again, while printing, we may go that this axis line, this is this solid line and color is black. Here we may require the axis, some bigger visible line. So we will change the width of this line, like that we can do. So that's why we can go through scatter diagram. In scatter diagram, we can add this one our trend line, or we can keep SCGs as per requirement. In second graph scatter diagram, I have added this a line. So same way we have to plot the graph, and how to add this line. We just have to go here at trend line. Here also it is there. We can go for trend line, then trend line, trend line here, trend line, we can select it. With the here we can say linear, then again here more options. Here again we can change the it to black. Then again width we can, it is a dashed one, so we can use plain line also, like this you can do. So that was plotted against, this is severity and leaf area that we also saw. Then here in trend line we can set here or display equation, R square equation. Now here also we have to sorry, just I want to change the so we have to change this number actually. Oh, right, I am not getting it now. Okay, I will get it afterwards to it. But we can like that, we can have numbers here, like 2-digit, we can go here, this decimal places to number. In this case, here we go to number category and we can change the number. Now regarding the data, this is a three-way data, but already you have gone through a species. So how it can be, we can arrange our data, that is the variety, then phase, then powdery infection level. These are our independent variables, and these are the dependent part. Likewise, we can go for one-way data. Here in first column, we have to give the numbering like 0, 1, 2 as per our treatments. These are the 5 treatments, and then our data in front of it. These are the replications. This first replication, this is second replication. Like this, we have to arrange our data, and we have to go for a species analysis. Now after SPSS, we get this data like this. We get the means, we get standard deviation, and then what we see, we formulated our postdoc data. This is Duncan test we have done. And here I want to plot a graph of Cabernet Sauvignon and Sauvignon Blanc varieties together. So these are my powdery mildew infection levels, and this is standard. We just have to arrange our data like this, and then we can plot a graph. Just bar graph here we can put like this. We can go to bar graph. Okay. Now again, same thing we have to do. We have to change the color of this bar. For this, we can go here, then change the color, fill color, solid fill is there here, or pattern fill we give. Pattern fill in case we can see some pattern, then black color, then border line here, solid line that should be black. Then again here we can change, here also pattern fill, some different pattern we can go for. Then it's a black color, it's border, it's solid line, it's black color. Like that we can do. Again for axis, what we did exercise like this exercise we can do for axis also. And we have to complete our graph like this. Most of the things we get here also in plus what we require. Suppose axis, here axis, what we do want to do axis, this is primary, more options here we get, and then we can change some here. The settings can be done there. So this is our complete graph, bar graph. There are some limitations in this virtual mode, but I'm trying to explain in adding these error bars again. Yes, we have to add here error bars. So what we have to do, we have to select this legend. One legend we select, all the legends are selected of that variety. So here we go to the design, then add element here, error bars. Here we can go for standard deviation or more error options also. Here if suppose standard deviation, format error bars, then in case of format error bars, we go for custom, specify value. Here we select, this is the standard deviation for Cabernet Sauvignon. Then here, or same we have to do plus minus. Okay, like this we have done. So these are added bars are added here. Now again we can do one thing here, data labels we can add. Now data labels added here. What for we require data labels? Actually in Excel we require to do it manually, but it's easy to, once we get handy to it, it is not difficult. These are the DMRT test report for Sauvignon Blanc, Cabernet Sauvignon. So what is the first? It says a C, so it's a C here. Likewise, like here B, like that we have to do, and we have to plot like this. So this is regarding bar graph. Now I go ahead. This is just one way compiled data total. Then we go for stacked bar. We go for stacked bar. Here microbyte count we have done. Same thing we have to do, only we select this area. I have not brought this together actually. It's the same way we can do. We have to bring the this one together. Or bacterial actually these standard deviations are together here. Same thing we have to do. I will select this one. Here is set bar graph stacked one. So like this graph will be there. Then again we will go on editing the colors, like same colors for each category. We can add a different trend here. fill color by going here. For each we will change here pattern fill. Suppose then I will get this pattern. For this one I will get a different pattern. Like that we can do. Then again we can add this standard deviation I have brought here. Then our this is standard deviation for this one, and these are the DMRT test values here. Likewise we can paste like this. This is for total total microbial count, so we can get a total also, or if we want to focus on bacteria and microbial or whatever parameters we have separate parameters, then we can go for this. We should not mistake to take total also here, because this makes the total here for me. Okay, then going towards histogram. So for histogram, this is the thing. If you have Excel now, my Excel also is 2013 version. So 2013 below, it is somewhat difficult to do histogram. But from 2016 onwards, histogram patterns are available. Here we have to. These are the plant number what I have done, and they measured the height for each plant. So just I want to say what is the in 2016 it gives a range actually 60 to 65 like that, but in 2013 we have to say its maximum value we will put here, and then it calculates the frequency. The frequency formula we can use, and simply we have to plot the graph. But after plotting the graph here, these graphs have to be made close together, brought together. So that wise we have to do some exercise here by just by one thing we have to add color to it, and then order joint type. Its width we have to adjust. We have to adjust this width actually to match this histogram. That is what best we can do. Yes, like this we have to do. And we can add labels here because most of the time in frequency distribution, it is good to show the labels, data labels. Here data labels are added. So this is the data labels we can add. Regarding box plot, it will require much time actually to show to see how box plot can be plotted in 2013 version, because most of the people are having up to 2013. This is our data. Suppose some past students in 3 years, and we have to go for box plot. Box plot is calculated on the basis of median. So these are the upper quartile, this is the lower quartile, this is the median, and these are the error bars or standard deviation here. So here we have to use some formulas, also some statistics we have to be very quickly. I will show. First, we have to, these are the observations here. For first, we have to calculate the quartiles actually for the 3 years. First, for quartiles, first we have to go, first is this is a minimum. This one is the quartile, upper quartile. This is the median. This is the lower quartile. And this is the maximum. And from that, we calculate quartile differences here. And those quartile differences, we plot a graph actually, basically. We have to plot a graph like this. Very quickly, I will show. insert bar graph. Such type of graph first we have to prepare, and from this we have done this one. Now these are 5. We have to go for format. Go to select data, just switch to this one series here and edit. In this edit, we have to select this one. So this is my 2013-14 data. Okay, now we have to convert this. It takes it's a long procedure actually. We have to basically we have to this lower maximum and minimum we have to remove. This is our box plot basically, and maximum and minimum are removed. Removed means just these are not visible on graph. So format data series, in that case format data series, what we do very quickly here, no fill, no line. Okay, like this. Here too, here no line is not done, so here no line. Here also we have to go for fill, no fill, no line. Now it is there. Now we have to add a standard error bar here. We like this. This procedure is quite long, but I will share this in some slide also. So here we have to go for the add design, add element, standard error bars, so standard deviation. Some settings are there basically here. The settings, some settings are there for error bars. This should be minus, there should be non-caps, then percentage it should be 100. Like this, these are done. Here also design, add error bars, standard deviation. This is added here. So standard deviation, this is minus, no caps. In case of percentage, this is 100%. Okay, so some color change, etc. we have to do, and it will look like this box plot. It will take much time. I do not want to waste time because I have to give some time for discussion also. So that was about some preparation of graphs in Excel. Mostly these scatter diagram, line graph, bar graph, then adding the data labels, adding post hoc test, adding error bars, then stack bars, histogram, and box plot. I know there are some limitations due to this virtual communication, but I might have done it at least a little bit to reach to you. So thank you very much. That is what I wanted to say. So thank you, Meg. So what do you, coach sir?
Sir. Anybody has any question, you can ask.
There were a lot of limitations of virtual communication basically.
Yes.
But I tried to do it.
Anybody has any question, then you can ask.
I think I was not able to reach anybody.
No, sir. The two participant is raising the hands.
Yeah, please. Yes.
Karuna Shankar. Yes, you can ask the question.
Hello.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, sir. First of all, many congratulations to you for your very nice presentation regarding presentation of data with the presentation of graphical presentation. So I have one question regarding in research paper, there is any mandatory for presentation use the graphical presentation or not?
No, it is not at all mandatory. See,
Okay.
in the first some initial slides only, I said that graphical presentation is important wherever you want to point out the trends easily. If you have very good trends in your data, that can be presented very good through. Otherwise, see, tables give a lot of information wherever your data is going to be used for some reproducing that experiments. So that time tabular forms are much required. And you see most of the communications, high impact factor journals, they ask for your data on the background also. They may not print it, but they want tables also. They need tables also.
Okay.
But it is not mandatory at all.
Oh, okay. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.
Dr. Yogita Kopte, ma'am, you can ask the question. Dr. Yogita Kopte.
Good afternoon, sir. First of all, very thank you so much. Very interesting topics and very in simple language you have explained all the sessions. Thanks a lot, sir. I have one question that how we can interpret the result from the when we can prepare the some scatter diagram. So what are some tips while we can interpret the result of that graph?
For scatter diagram, it is very easy to interpret actually, because it is showing you the trends very easily. So there we have to you have to show the trends, and most of the time if it is said, I have seen a lot of times that a lot of trend lines are shown in graphs, but the R square value is very low. If your R square is very low, it is not good to put your scatter diagram or that line graph there. It should be more than 80. It is said it should be, because it gives very good picture of it. And you have to just explain what is your trend. Suppose in case of my explanation that powdery mildew disease severity on leaves, no doubt it was directly or significantly reducing the leaf area. So that we have to explain. What you explain in data, more factors here, two variables are there to compare, and it is very easy to interpret also. And with the help of equation and R square, you can easily yes, you can add your equation in your present result interpretation also with R square value. Most of the time equation is also not required, but R square is required.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
There were another things also here. I can't go for it because these are very difficult to show explain in virtual mode. That is cluster diagram, etc. We using Biodiversity Pro, because if most of the time we are facing huge data. If you have huge data at that time, these softwares are very useful in this case. Yes, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
A.K. Patil, sir, shall I propose vote of thanks? Or you want to say something?
Yes, sir, please.
Yes,
Okay,
yes.
Okay. So thank you very much, sir, for sharing your valuable information. Presentation very well explained the basic rules or the correct format while making the data tables by giving examples. Also, he mentioned the meaning and purpose of the graphs, sessions and its impact. Also, the basic rules of drawing graphs. This is very important. He explained in his presentation how to represent data in graphs. Also, he very well explained the types of graphs, the scatter bar graph, histogram. Also, he explained how to draw the scatter diagrams in Excel sheet. In short, he explained how can we make our data or the information much easier to understand, the identify or to classify. So I think so. This is very important information that sir has shared with us. Thank you very much, sir, for giving your valuable time.
Thank you.
Sharing your valuable information. Yeah.
Thank you very much. And I just want to introduce our institute for 1 minute. I'm from National Institute of Aortic Stress Management, which is placed at Baramati. And we are working on a number of aspects, not only plants,
Yes.
horticulture, vegetable, field crops, then fishery, animal husbandry, goatry, all those things which are being influenced by climate change on increased temperature like that. We are doing a lot of research and we have very good facility here. Basically, you will be nice to know that the phenomics facility, which is there in only at 5 places in India, and in working condition, it is there in Baramati. So I will
Wow.
be very happy to see all of you here to see visit our institute on your scientific tours or study tours or personal visitors. So thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir. We will look forward. Definitely.
Thank you.
Yes, yes, yes. A.K. Patil, sir, over to you.
Yes, sir.